Hi everyone, we're Eathouse and welcome to our 4th edition of Live Feed. We're here today with Eathouse member Ulufer Çelik and our special guest Şennur Turgut, and Merve Kılıçer is also here with us today. We're going to be making, probably going to not pronounce this correctly, so I will be corrected. Gömbe, which is a Turkish pastry from central Anatolia, and we're going to have a recipe demonstration, and Ulufer is going to present some of her research.
Yeah.
So thanks again to Kunstinstituut Melly for hosting us today. We're here in a lovely cafe and bookshop area, and also a quick thank you to CBK Rotterdam for supporting our live feed projects. And I'll just quickly introduce who Eathouse are. We're a cooking collective of artists based in Rotterdam. We're interested in providing healthy and affordable food and using food as a generous meeting place to bring people together. And for the summer season, we've hosted 3 of these live feeds already, and we'll be doing 4 more of them by the end of the year, where we're going to invite guest artists in to share a recipe. So maybe I'll just talk about a little bit about the format of the day. Obviously it's not quite live because we've had some technical issues, so apologies for that if you're watching back and you expected to tune in. But Ulufer we're going to be shown a recipe. I think Şennur is going to show us her recipe of Gömbe. And it's going to take maybe an hour to an hour and a half. They're going to show Merve how to make Gömbe, and then Ulufer's going to present some research on the main ingredient of Gömbe, which is poppy seed paste. And we're also, later I'm going to talk with Ulufer about the poppy seed harvest in Turkey, and the legal and illegal trade of opium, which is perhaps the poppy flower's most famous or infamous byproduct. So,
yeah. And also before we start, I would like to introduce Şennur a little bit more. Şennur is a mother of a very dear friend of mine, but also my neighbor, and she's working in the cleaning sector. She started to live in Rotterdam when she was 16, and she has been living here for more than 30 years. She has kind of a kitchen that whenever you go to the house, there will be a smell of pastry coming from the kitchen. And I was there to eat morning, and she cooked this special Gömbe recipe, which is also very well known from her village. And I ate it, I really liked it. I always wanted to learn how to do it too, so today it will be a day to learn from her the tips and how to make it all together. I think it will be an exciting episode. Yeah, now we can maybe start with the ingredients and then start with the preparation of the dough.
We already did something here.
Oh yeah, we made something as a preparation.
So we have 2 packages of wet yeast.
So this is this one that we use.
2 kaşık şeker.
2 tablespoons of sugar. Süt.
Bir bardak süt, bir bardak su.
1 glass of milk and 1 glass of water. Ilık su mu?
Ilık.
Warm water.
Yeah. And also, sorry, today's program will be a little bit bilingual because we don't have, like Dutch is not our common language and English either, so we will be translating from language to language and switching on and off, so bear with us. But yeah, maybe I'll just
Bu kadar değil mi?
Ya bunu zaten biraz bekletiyoruz 10 dakika kabarması, güzel kabarması için.
We prepared from before, like 10 minutes before, and wait for it to kind of get fluffy. Yes. Maybe I can show it how it looks now. It's like this. And yeah. So this is something we did before. And you can also prepare it before we put the flour and everything else in.
So is this all the ingredients except the flour? Or?
This is the preparation of the dough. Now I can introduce the ingredients. So we have mollasses, which is also known in pekmez in Turkish. And we have flour, we have wet yeast as we already used. We have sugar, we have pinch of salt, and small bottle of oil. We are using sunflower oil. Olive oil also would work, but not heavy taste, like not the intense one, but something mild. And we are using a liter of milk, half liter of water. The water should be warm enough, so not boiling, but not cold as well. And then we have poppy seeds here, which Carmen brought from Spain, but they are actually produced in Turkey, but you can find it in every supermarket here too. And we have sesame seeds, we have eggs, and we have baking paper and tray and oven. So yeah, that's it. Let's start.
Bunu söyledim.
Evet.
Böyle kabardı, beklettik.
Ondan sonra. Yani suyunu sonradan mı koydun? Yoksa bir bardaktan mı su?
Yok daha önce su ekleyeceğiz, süt ekleyeceğiz. Malzemesini de
Tamam.
ekliyoruz. Normal.
Tamam. So we just added the water now, and we're gonna add also milk, and the flour, and the oil.
Toplam 4 bardak su.
Okay, in total there will be 4 cups of water.
Bu ölçüden kaç tane çıkar?
But
2
yeah,
kiloyu çıkarmaya çalışacağım.
this batch is for maybe 60 people, so in the website we will also add the ingredients for a home type of cooking. That
Yeah,
will be
but-
like for 15 people, 20 people. So you can check the exact recipe there, but today for the sake of making it easier, we will share the ingredients for 60 people. So we added 4 cups of water and 4 cups of milk, and we are stirring it.
4 bardak su, 5 bardak su.
Okay, 5 glasses of milk. Yeah. A little bit salt.
Yazıkla, peynir ekleyeyim.
Bir buçuk kaşık. Okay. And then we added 1 or like 2 tablespoons of salt. And now she will add eggs.
Beyaz tabağı versin. Beyazı içine, sarısı üzerine.
Okay, the white of the egg white will go in, and then the egg yolk will go later.
Later on the top.
Yeah, later on the top. So it's good to keep them in a bowl separately to use it afterwards. She's saying she washed her hands, we all washed our hands actually, before we start.
Kabuk kaçmadı şimdi.
So she's going to prepare it like a big dough, and then I'm gonna take a piece of it to have a tryout here on my own dough.
Şimdi malzemeler koyduk, yoğurmaya başlayacağız.
Yes, now we put all the ingredients that is going to be required for the dough, but we will start going with our hands and mixing it up with the flour to make it more thick. We didn't add oil yet.
Önce bir paket boşaltıyoruz, öbüründe yavaş yavaş.
Yes. First the flour goes in quickly, but then she will add the other box of flour slowly. And yesterday Merve and I, we tried to cook it on our own. It was our first time, but somehow it didn't work.
Somehow.
Yeah, now we will.
It was a big failure.
Yeah.
And, so now,
as well.
yeah.
Actually, the recipe that I tried is tahini in it, and in this version, Şennur uses mollasses instead. And so in every region in Turkey, the recipe changes.
I didn't know this pastry actually.
Şimdi öğren yoğurmaya başlayacağım.
Now she will go hand.
Yeah, in where my parents are from, it's not a common thing.
Yeah, I guess it's about where the poppy seed harvest is being done. Because in the Anatolia and in the Mediterranean, you can grow the poppy seeds easily, but because of the weather, you can't harvest it everywhere in the world, but in Turkey, and where Merve is from is Black Sea.
But also
In
Kayseri,
Kayseri,
it's also central Anatolia,
Yeah, but it's not raining enough, that's why. It
okay.
needs to be a little bit rainy.
Okay.
Yeah. So wherever it grows,
Kind of.
they use it. The quinoa.
Dökmez.
Now I'm gonna add it slowly while she's busy with the games.
Şennur abla sana kim öğretti?
Ben 8 yaşından beri yapıyorum.
I was asking a good taught her how to do it, and she says she's been doing it since she's 8 years old. And this is cooking to do.
Bizim ana yemeğimiz. Ana yemeğimiz.
Their house food, they learn that from, everybody learns it from the mother.
Yeah, we were also talking with her yesterday night, and she also said that that's the main dish, that's the main bread actually, that is cooked like every day. It doesn't even need a special occasion to be cooked, but it's there every day. And when they cook it, they do it in batches, so you don't need to do it day by day, but once you made it like 30, you can eat all month. It's that kind of bread, but you can keep it fresh for a long time.
Can it stay fresh because it has this like oily paste in it, so it doesn't go bad from?
Yeah, also when you buy the paste, the guy who sold me the paste, he said you can keep it in the fridge for a year. But it's really like kind of oily and
Çok fazla lazım. Güzel olması çok yoğun.
Çok yormak gerekiyor. You need to, how do you say? How do you say when with this action that you
Kneading.
kneading? Yeah. You need to knead it long and hard to have a good dough.
Yeah, that was one of the mistakes that we do. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Turkey also we have a city called Afyon. This is the main city that Turkey harvests opium and poppy seeds. And the meaning of the city, Afyon, it actually means opium. And their football team flag is like covered with poppy seeds on it. So it's like, yeah, what the city is very well known from. And yeah.
Kıvamlı.
Oldu mu şimdi?
Oldu mu? Şöyle gösterelim kameraya.
So the dough seems ready. It's not really thick, so it needs to make your hands dirty still, but it also has a consistency in it. And she also said it's in the consistency of an earlobe.
We say that in Turkish, like, needs to be at the consistency of an earlobe.
And now clearing up the edges. A little bit more flour.
Biraz bekleyin tabii. Biz böyle temizliyoruz. Böyle çıkıyor.
Çok mantıklı. This is the way you should clean your hands with flour. Otherwise, it's very hard to get it off your hands.
Hiçbir şey araya gitmiyor yani.
So you have all pieces in it.
Yeah, nothing is the waste now. We used all the material.
Yes.
Şimdi üstünü kapatacak mısın?
Yeah.
Now we're gonna cover it.
Plastik getirelim.
Plastic.
Cover it.
Streç mi?
Öbür şey.
Şurada var. Birazcık küçük ama.
Getirelim ya.
Büyük mü getirmiş? Alalım.
Biraz suyu lazım.
So we will cover it with a plastic bag.
Şennur abla karanlıkta olması gerekiyor mu?
Yok.
Yok. Tamam. It doesn't need to be in the dark.
Ve bu ne kadar bekleyecek?
Ya, o falan hiç. Yarım
Okay.
saat.
Şimdi, and now it will wait for half an hour. Yeah, then we will see how it goes. So this is the plant. It's actually a very valuable plant as its ornamental aspects too. So yes, they are using it, like every piece of it has been used for something else, but only to have a look at it, it's so beautiful. And in Latin, it's called Papaver somniferum, and Papaver means poppy seeds, and somniferum means a plant that makes you sleepy and dreamy. So even in the name, it has a connotation. And in Turkish, we call it haşhaş. In Arabic, it's called haşhaş. And in Sanskrit, in India, they call it kaskasa. Its native range is Eastern Mediterranean. So when the plant is first naturally harvested, it was in Mediterranean area. And the first civilization that has harvested this was Minoans. And in circa 5000 BCE, it has been, there are residues of this plant and their seeds from the Neolithic era, so it's very, very old. And when you cut this plant, it gives out a milk. And the milk is used for, of course, the well-known opium. And this is how they produce the gumbo. This is one of the archaeological findings that I could find, that this god is holding the opium. And also here, goddess of abundance and prosperity, Kibele, is holding opium on her right hand. So both of them are from Anatolia. And this is how a regular field would look like when the flowers are blossoming. And they are tulip-like. They are not always pink. They are sometimes white and also purple. And this was the color of the flag that I was talking about. So in Afyon, the flowers are purple. And when you go there, you can see whole field is covered with these beautiful plants. And this is a close-up picture. And the scoring of the capsule, they call this part capsule, it also differs. The axis, sometimes they score it horizontally, sometimes vertically. It changes. And also the dried ones, if they are dried in the field, they take them to factories to produce medical drugs and to create morphine, codeine, nicotine, papaverine, and all kind of painkillers and sleeping pills, antidepressants and other type of drugs from this. But this is when it is dry. And when it's wet, they use it mostly to do morphine and heroin. And the seeds that you can see here, they're mostly going to breakfast as a paste, or they are being using in pastry or in the recipes in kitchen. This is how we score it in Konya, in my grandmother's village. I will keep going back and forth between Konya because when I will talk a little bit more about my research, but it is mostly happening there. So you'll also see the photos from there. And this is the gum. When it starts to dry out like this, you see it, and it becomes in this form in 2 days. And then with a special knife, the villagers or the producers, they are collecting this gum, and then they are selling it to factories or to mafia, even to the drug. And this is the gum, how it looks like. And if you cut it when it is wet, there are white seeds in it. And this is the time that you, how do you say that? You put it on the field, and then the new plants are coming from this especially. And in Turkey, after you do this period, so when you cut out and put all the seeds, the police and the soldier is involved in this process, and they're coming with drones and taking aerial photos of this process, and then they are starting to control the whole process. If the villagers are cheating, if they are selling it to any mafia, or are they like selling all of the plants to the government, back and forth. So this is that. And this is the seeds that we are using. To take out the seeds, in Turkey the whole process is controlled by United Nations, but the whole process also is made by women, the 95% of it, and it is all handmade. They don't use much technical tools to harvest this plant. This is the way that they are smashing the poppy and taking out the seeds. And and still they are selling this yellow bags to government bag. This is a close-up picture, and the herb is growing about a meter tall, and it is an annual. It is annually harvested. So each year you need to plant it again and again. And in Turkey also there are some laws because this whole process has been controlled by United Nations, and they don't let the villagers to plant this on the same field every year. So they need to have 2 fields, and 1 field each year needs to be used, and this makes it controlled easily, but it's not then using the full capacity of the fields. And so now I will talk about my own artistic research a little bit. So these 2 ladies are the reason why I became interested in this. 2 years ago, my grandmother passed away, and I went to our village, to our house for joining the ceremony. And they are living in this house as 2 matriarchal figures, and we were sitting as a chamber with all the women of the village and the house, and everyone was talking about their pain and the way that they deal with grief, their own losses of their beloved ones. And after some hours, they somehow started to talk about poppy seed harvest and how the drones are coming. And one woman said, "Oh yeah, do you remember we were like putting our babies in the field, and then we were able to work all day in the field." And then they also said their drones are like controlling so much, and they hear the noise and they feel a bit awkward about it. And then I came back home with the feeling of, okay, this place is like a home to me. I feel like nowhere else in the world. But what does it mean to grieve, to grieve far away from your house and far away from your memories? And it is somehow linked with the euphoria that they are feeling. It is this opium is used in all the antidepressants, and antidepressants are kind of drugs that in Turkey you would use it when someone dies and you don't want to feel that much pain, and they help. I thought maybe subconsciously they're trying to deal with the pain with remembering this plant. And then I started to read about it. I don't know if you can read, but I will read it. In Our Faces, My Heart Breathes as Photos by John Berger from Pantheon Books in 1984, I found this chapter that is talking about home. Home was the center of the world because it was the place where a vertical line crossed with a horizontal one. The vertical line was a path leading upwards to the sky and downwards to the underworld. The horizontal line represented the traffic of the world, all the possible roads leading across the earth to other places. Thus, at home, one was nearest to the gods in the sky and to the dead on the underworld. This nearness promised access to both, and at the same time, one was at the starting point and hopefully the returning point of all terrestrial journeys. And then Berger continues, originally, home meant the center of the world, not in a geographical, but in an ontological sense. Mircea Eliade has demonstrated how the home was the place from which the world could be founded. A home was established, as he says, at the heart of the real. In traditional societies, everything that made sense of the world was real. The surrounding chaos existed and was threatening, but it was threatening because it was unreal. Without a home at the center of the real, one was not only shelterless, but also lost in non-being, in unreality. Without a home, everything was fragmentation. I'm going to repeat the last sentence one more. Without a home at the center of the real, one was not only shelterless, but also lost in non-being, in unreality. Without a home, everything was fragmentation. When I read this part, I was thinking only about my art practice, but when I was preparing for this presentation and all the things that are happening in Afghanistan, I could only think about the Afghan women and how maybe they might be feeling at this time. And also related to this research, okay, Turkey is being controlled by the United Nations and producing this drug for the whole world legally. Afghanistan is the illegal source that is producing the 95% of the illegal drug consumed in the whole world and the 90% of the whole Europe. So if you buy heroin on the street, it is probably coming from Afghanistan. And of course, there's so much money involved in this. And since 2001, Afghanistan is the leading illicit producer, the drug producer. So yeah, there's a lot to think now, like how does these kind of drugs that are so much profitable are affecting the whole world. When you are going in deeper in the research, you see how opium is changing the history of the political world somehow. And also, when I was doing the research, of course, I want to produce an artwork, hopefully at the end of it. But during the whole process, I thought that what was important to me was to honor the woman around me somehow, if that's any possible. And my mother is a painter and also a housewife. She has been painting for the last 2 years, and she only paints while taking orders. So if you're a friend of her, you can say, I want a photo of a tulip or like sea, and then she would paint it for you. And I thought, okay, I want to work with my mom and I want her to paint for paint the field that is doing the opium harvest, but maybe this will also give her a space to exhibit her work somehow in some place. And then we started to talk with my mother, and then I found some photos that I would like to share with you from newspapers that are women are doing the harvesting in Turkey. So this is Afyon mainly, and women are working there, but also they have daughters that are going to university and in other cities, and when they come back, they always work. And when you do the wheat production, for example, the wheat that does the flour, it's not a whole year process. But with the poppy seed harvest, you have something to do the whole year. It doesn't leave you alone or give you a break at all, the harvest of the poppy seed. And usually they wear this traditional white clothes to put things in it. If you're there with your baby, you would put your baby there, or by the sleep of it even, you might feel a bit hazy. And this is the oldest photo that I could find that is belonging to 1930s, and still women there doing the harvesting. But I would like to give some insight about Turkey in general in the opium harvest. In 1933, the Drug Substances Exclusivity Administration started to produce this in control under the government supervision. And in 1938, the Office of Harvest, the Toprak Mahsulleri Ofisi, continued to control. And then in 1971, the production was for opium and the seed and scoring the capsule has been banned, even for use of the medical drugs, and it has been banned by the USA. But then in 1975, they started slowly to start again from the, without the scoring of it, so without producing anything, but only for the kitchen and the use for the recipes, because it is really in the culture, and they couldn't resist anymore the people wanting to plant this plant. And then with the United Nations, they started to even produce even started to scoring of it again in 1976, and then using it to send it to all around the whole world for the medicinal purposes, let's say. And under the control of the United Nations, yes, Turkey is the main legal producer, but also India, France, Spain, and Hungary are one of the countries. And yeah, I guess that's it. This was when I was in the village. I went there and I saw only one poppy popping. It wasn't the right time to go there, actually. But then I found a shop who is selling these poppy seed paste. So I made a video with my phone quickly, so we will watch those videos.
We still have 10 minutes to wait with this, but Şennur was saying that we need to also prepare the...
Okay, let's prepare it and then we will see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or ne kadar sürecek bunu hazırlaması için? O zaman videodan sonra yapalım. Okay, let's do it.
Because I think you'll have 10 more minutes and then I will be done.
Okay.
Okay, let's start. The sound is okay. But it's okay. So you take your poppy seed with you in a bag, and then the guy inside gives you these 2 silver cups. And it says on the screen, you can find poppy seeds, you can press poppy seed, you can buy poppy seeds, you can find tahini, Turkish delight. It's such a small shop, and he's the only one in the town that is doing this. So also from around villages, people are coming to buy this. I went there with my cousins, and the woman in the photo that I showed you, the Şerif Teyze, she asked us to take the seeds there to make the paste. She wanted 6 kilos, and so she really gave us like a lot of seeds. You basically use 2 different types of machine. One is doing the frying, and the other one is turning the fried seeds into the paste. This is the dried versions. Like in every house that you go in the village, you will see these in a vase as dried flowers.
Yok, kadar.
Çaydaşıyla mı yiyecek?
Börek yapacağım 2-3 börek.
I'm saying I'm gonna do very spice or 3 times.
2 tane götür o zaman. Dolaba buzluktan tutsun. Dolabın içinde bir sene durur mu? Tamam.
He's saying you can keep it for a year in the fridge, nothing will happen.
Şeyi kaç çıkıyor?
When you showed, it's like quite white. It looks quite white, no? But normally, what we find is quite gray.
Yeah,
How come?
because they are frying it.
They're
And when
frying
you fry the seeds, like sesame seeds, they become darker. That here you will see the difference in the color too. This fries with one only, and there is a fire under this. You will see now. He's making it warm.
So before making it into a paste, you need to fry it.
Yeah. Because when you fry it, the taste is also more intense. Yeah.
Şimdi ne yapıyor kardeşim? Bilmediğim ne yapıyor? Kavuruyor.
And this white paper there is our name, so Jomon, so that other families' batches won't mix with each other. Every time they do that paper that says their name on it. And now you will start seeing the color difference. This is what
It's already,
it's the same, but it's already darker.
And he wouldn't give you from batch of someone else.
No, he wouldn't give you from batch of another family, but he's also said this is his batch, so if you go there without seeds, you can also buy for your own. And also, when we bought ours and put it in the car, the whole car smells like poppy, yeah, the poppy seed base. It has such a strong smell.
Yes, I know it from our fridge.
Yeah. But also, and the thing is, this machine, like this process takes a lot of time, but it's not because of the machines. You need to wait to cool it down. After you fry, you need to cool it down because the second machine doesn't like warm seeds. They cannot cold press it very well when it's super hot. So you wait outside for the seeds to get colder. And this is after 40 minutes of us waiting in front of the shop to seeds to cool down. And now he's taking it inside and he will use the other machine to bring the paste out.
Şef tası iyice çekilecek dedi.
I'm saying chefs are the ones who really finely press. I also asked this person, how did you learn to do this? He said he learned it in Denizli, which is Şennur teyze's from. Bunu Denizli'de öğrenmiş bu dükkanın sahibi. Ondan sonra da makineleri Denizli'den alıp buraya getirip köyde açmış.
Burası dediğin Konya.
Konya, yeah. So he saw it first in Denizli, and then he bought the machines from there to my village in Konya, and then he started his business around there.
Onları kim yaptı?
Şunlar kaç para kutuları? Yok boy kutuları. Onu şeye mi koysak kızım? Şunlara mı koysak? 1 kilo alır mı bunlar? Efendim? Bu mu iyi? Tamam o zaman.
Taşıması da.
So this is the bag that we're gonna...
This is the bag that we opened, yeah.
Siz kaç yıldır bu işi yapıyorsunuz?
He has been doing this for
Başka
15
var mı taşı
years.
çeken biri?
Ben bunu ilk olarak Denizli Çiğli'de gördüm. Ben aşık yapıyorum. Aşık yaptığım yerde orada gördüm. Biraz aşağı memleket olduğu için. Bu makineyi bir aldım geldim.
Memleket buram.
Peki bu ezmeyle neler yaparlar? Çörek yapıyorlar, ekmek yapıyorlar.
En çok hamur ekmek, soba tepsi yönde yaparlar. Ve sabahtan kahvaltıda bandı var.
He's saying that in the breakfast you would usually eat it with honey.
Oh, you mix it with that?
Yeah, like tahini and molasses. You would do honey and hashash.
We should try it.
Yeah. It sounds simple, but yeah. I would also like to show one last photo. This is how they are separating, like putting boundaries between the fields of hashash, and in this way the government can control it easily with the drones. So they wouldn't, yeah, with the difference of colors and the area that is being used for producing and not, they can easily count how many poppy seeds have been produced, and if the villagers are cheating, they will punish them for 10 years of not being able to produce again. So there are also heavy laws around this. Yeah, I guess that's all. And now we can maybe go back to the dough and see if it's ready.
Kabarmanı göster.
No, the dough, it has grown. Wow, it's huge now. We are going to now prepare it inside of the bun with the paste that
Yeah,
you just...
I would like to talk about the paste. Okay, we got it from Turkey, but you can find it in Turkish supermarkets in this form or in this form. As hashash as Messi it says, so it means poppy seed paste. I would show you. You can also buy it, and it's 100%. It doesn't have much other ingredients in it.
Az yağ koyuyorum iyi
Now we
açılması
will
için.
put some oil to make it less dense.
Ne kadar?
Yeah, half of a cup, I think.
Halaf klas.
Yeah, half of a cup.
Half a cup, yeah.
Now the molasses goes in.
Çatallar daha güzel açılıyor.
With the fork, you can mix it better rather than the spoon. And with this, you are generous.
Bu göz kararı olur.
Göz
Çünkü
kararı.
o haşhaşın ne kadar aldığını bilmiyorum.
Yeah, Merve asked how much, and then she's like, with your eye, you need to calculate how much you put, but it's half of a bottle. So like 400,
Not
No.
half, but like it's thinner.
600. I
Şimdi
think.
half kilo var ya burada. O ne kadar gidiyor bakarız, söyleriz.
Okay. In the end, we will tell you how much you should put.
Because she's mixing it now, all, and we need to see how much it can take.
Şeker de koyuyor musun?
Az.
Yeah, and we will also put a little bit sugar in this one. Because the taste of the poppy seed, it's not very sweet. You can also do savory things with it.
Çok ince olursa içi hamurun içinden çıkıyor.
Yeah, if you make it too wet,
Wet or thin.
Yeah.
it just goes out everywhere and creates like it's being more messy. So you need to make it a little bit thick.
This is also one of the mistakes that we made, I
Yeah.
think, yesterday. It mixed with the dough as we were trying to close it.
Yeah, you can make so much mistakes easily with this because, as she said, you need to see it with your eye after you, yeah,
Göster güzel bir şey.
after someone shows you.
Az şeker atar mısın?
Now we will put a little bit sugar. Bir kaşık mı atayım?
Sen dök. Ben bakarım. Ya yeter. Yine yeter. Bir yemek kaşığı.
Okay, 1 tablespoon of sugar. A little bit more molasses syrup.
The syrup is also very sweet, so that's why we put not so much sugar.
Yeah.
Karıştırma istersen. İsteyim.
Yo, yani onu becerebilirim yani.
I want to look at the thickness. Kan bir karıştırabilir miyim?
Bu kalınlıkta.
Yeah.
Durdukça
So it doesn't go down.
katılaşıyor, biraz ekleyebiliriz.
And while it waits, it gets more and more thicker. So we will see. Maybe like in 10 minutes we need to add more molasses. We need to make it wet. But at the moment it is in the perfect consistency.
Şöyle. Yumurtanın içine az süt koy. Ne
And
kadar pekmez?
Pekmez yarım şişe gibi gitti.
o 1300. So
750.
yeah, 700.
750.
Yeah, 750. And now the egg yolks that we started when we were starting the egg yolks that we use. Now we will put a little bit milk.
Koy koy koy. Ya.
And this is for the topping. She will mix this as well.
Fırça da çantanın içinde kalmış herhalde.
Hangisi?
Fırça.
Ha burada fırça.
Fırça şurada.
Onu güzel karıştırıyoruz.
This we need to mix very well. Eğer çok sıvıysa yumurtayı koyabiliriz.
Yumurta her şey katılaşmış.
Çatal bu yapalım mı? Merve, do you want to talk about the Ottoman incident about opium?
The Ottomanism, there's just this saying that we use a lot in the language or in Turkey. We say when someone is grumpy in the morning, you say, "Oh, your opium hasn't exploded yet," because it comes from when in the Ottoman time, mostly in Ramadan. People, before starting fasting at night, when they eat food, they also take a bit of swallow a bit of opium in like a thing. I think it's comes like a little sack, and then in the next day in the morning they are feeling very calm and not grumpy, and like all day they can go through the day without eating food and being happy. And so from that time still we are using it as a way to say someone like you're grumpy and you need to chill down kind of. But it shows how commonly it was used in at the time. It was like consumed daily, and there were cafes for people who consumed it, and they would hang out there, and even women would also consume it. And I was reading that the men would use it in the cafes because if they consume it at home, also the woman will consume it at home, and then everybody will be like stressed and high. So to avoid this, they would only consume it in the cafe and come home to the sober woman.
Yeah, this we read in Evliya Çelebi's journey.
Yeah, Evliya Çelebi's journal tells it. Yeah.
And now the egg yolk and the milk is ready. This is for the topping. It's still aside. And I guess now Şennur will start with the kneading and unfolding the dough.
Önce havasını aldırıyoruz.
First, we take the air out from the dough.
Çok kabardı.
It's huge.
It's really abundant. Yeah, this way you take the air out and you can see the air bubbles there popping. Some flour for the chopping board.
Bezlere şey yapıp bekletirim.
We are making them into bezes, like little dough pieces, and then they will wait a little as well because the yeast needs to make it rise more.
Şöyle bir kağıt açayım mı? Üstüne koyalım mı?
It's always handy to prepare the baking paper on the surface that you're working with, because as you prepare, you would put them here, and then you can easily transfer it to the tray that you are using.
Good. Ben de öyle yapayım mı?
Yap.
And Merve is showing the amateur way.
Yes, I'm gonna imitate whatever Şennur abla is doing.
Ya bu her zaman elimize yapışıyor. Yapacak bir şey yok.
Yeah, this will always be sticky. There is nothing to do. So you add more flour. Yeah. Now we are starting.
Bunu naylon nereye koyduk?
Burada.
And this is Oklava, a grape to be for the treatment
Bir solu.
in the house. That's also a good way to unfold the dough.
You can buy it in every Turkish
Let's
shop.
see who's doing better.
Better? It's like out of question. I'm following you.
The purpose is to make a circular dough. Yeah, the shape needs to be as circular as possible. In Merve's case.
In my case, it's not really circular. It's because of the tool. This is not the right tool.
I think there's a Turkish wedding outside.
Sounds like Turkish wedding, Turkish cooking,
Yeah.
something retrograde in the stars.
Merve's perfect triangle is
Nice.
Come on, don't make fun of me. This is how everybody's feeling while trying.
You can use more flour, I think.
Yeah.
How big you should go? I think as big as a tea tray, my mother said.
Oh my god, it's so big.
But
Gördün
it's
mü?
like-
Çok katılaştı.
Yeah, so this is thicker than what we want, so we are adding more molasses.
Yeah.
It's always good to keep an eye on it to check the consistency.
But how come is it just getting like absorbing it?
Yeah, I guess it's just absorbing it. In other regions, they would also put walnuts and
Çok
tahini.
ince açmıyor mu? Ne yapayım? Yetti mi? Yetti. Tamam.
And it needs to be not very thin. But the very, maybe not much helping. It's like 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters thick. And now she's just adding the paste on top of the dough. This shape at the moment is not really important because with the spoon you need to homogenize it and spread it very well.
Katı mı oldu? Öbürü çıkar.
Biraz katı galiba.
Ama öbürü çıkıyor.
So it's thick enough to spread but not thin to get out from the dough. It is what the desired consistency. And Merve also started to add herbs.
Yavaş yavaş.
Şuradan bir kaşık uzatsana.
Yeah. You shouldn't rush this process at all. And we were talking with Şennur that you shouldn't rush anything with this recipe at all because when you get stressed, the yeast somehow hears it and then, things go bad. Slower the better. Also with the cooking, the baking of it needs to be slow.
Okay, this is not the good example.
It's an example.
It's an example of how you can
Çıkıyor zaten.
make it wrong.
Now she will start rolling it. But for this,
Maybe we should.
you first save the edges to prevent the paste going out. She's rolling like 1 inch inside from the edges. And if you are cooking, I think it's a good time to start the oven too to get heated up.
Şeyi açsanız fırını.
Ben de
Açtık.
ondaydım.
Tamam.
It's been on
The
for a
good
while.
temperature for the oven is 190 degrees, and the perfect way to cook it is without fan from top and bottom, top and bottom setting. And she's rolling it.
Kenarlarını katladın mı öyle değil mi Şennur?
Yok o haşhaşı bulaştırmak için.
Bulaştırmayayım mı?
Bulaştırmak için. Mesela şunu şöyle kenarlarına gelmesi için.
Ha anladım öyle onun için yaptım.
Evet.
Anladım. Şimdi atılacak.
Onun üstüne koyayım mı?
Senin kal.
Tamam.
Bak.
Now the baking paper is going on the A little bit oil on the baking paper so that it won't stick when you put the roll in it. And you can use a wooden tool to cut it nicely. It's like 3-finger size of pieces.
Tahtayı kesersen ağızları açılmıyor.
And if you cut it with the wood, the edges won't open up. So
Ben
it's
daha
also
rol edemedim ki. Nasıl bunu çevireceğim ben şimdi onu göremedim.
Yap, çevir.
Böyle çevireyim ya.
now Merve is starting to roll it too. And Şennur teyze is placing them on the tray. So with the oil that we put on the baking paper, she is also wetting the dough pieces from upwards and downwards, from all the sides. And she's placing them next to each other on the tray. And Merve is done with the rolling. And the edges are amazing in the shape of a rose.
Beautiful.
Şimdi keseyim mi?
Şunları koyma.
Onları koymayacağım tamam. Böyle.
Yeah, if you have pieces like Merve, don't put them.
Şunları kes.
Tamam şimdi böyle. Böyle değil mi?
Yeah. Now the next batch, till we fill the trays. Ben de üstlerine süreyim mi?
Klasik. Kurur çünkü.
Now the other
Böyle
one.
bulayarak koyuyorum.
Ya. Ama biraz şey.
More dough.
Şuna biraz pekmez koyuyorsun.
Buna mı?
Az daha.
I'm gonna add a little bit more mollasses.
Ben bir tur daha deneyeyim mi?
Ben deneyeyim. I want to
sen
try
dene.
now.
Ama bu tahta biraz küçük biraz daha küçük bir tane.
Çok ince olmasın. Kalın olacak.
Şey, o biraz büyük bence. Şuradan. Tamam.
Evet. Ama
Burada. Heh, veriyorum. Şöyle yaptın değil mi?
ya.
Şu yeter herhalde.
Okay.
Çünkü burası küçük ya biraz. Şunu kullandım.
Şimdi biraz daha. Hep çiğ çekiyor. Değeri yaptım. Değeri yaptım.
Okay, it's not perfect circles.
Şennur abla bu senin en sevdiğin, yapmayı en sevdiğin şey diyebilir miyiz?
Ya.
I was asking if we could say that this is her favorite thing to make. And she said yes.
Bunu ince sürersen haşhaş içinden çıkıp gidiyor. Anladın mı? O yüzden böyle.
İnce sürersen
You
derken?
spread the paste thick.
Hamuru içinden çıkıyor.
If the consistency is thin, it goes out from the dough.
Bak ben öyle yapmadıydım.
Hiç bu hani mesela kenarları boş kalmasın diye.
Evet. So she's folding the sides to spread it well to the edges as well. and then the rolling starts from one side. It gets wider and wider as it's being rolled.
Fırın yandı mı?
Fırın yanıyor. Kaşığı vereyim sana.
Bunun kalınlığı iyi mi? Daha açayım mı?
Biraz daha aç bence.
Biraz. Yumurtayı sürer misin?
Now we will spread the egg yolk mix.
İster haşhaşın üstüne.
And then on top of the egg we will put some poppies seeds or the sesame seeds on them as a way to make
İyi mi
it
böyle?
cuter.
Daha bol mu? Nerede susam bakayım?
Sesame is there.
Bol koyuyorum. İyi mi böyle?
You don't put poppy seeds on top.
You can also put poppy seeds
We
on
will
top.
put poppy as well in another batch.
This was a sesame.
Koyayım mı pesto?
Vallahi çok.
At at. Bir şey. Susamı üzerinden böyle yaparsan susamlar düşmez.
Ha. If you pass again with the egg yolk on top of the topping, then they will stay on. They won't fall out. Şunu da az olacak.
Fırını sür.
Now we are giving the first tray to the oven and it will take approximately half an hour.
Should I show it to you?
Çok zor oldu değil mi? Yoksa
Birazcık daha mı bastı?
Yoksa içinden çıkar.
Pekmez. Ama çıkar değil mi?
ya.
How long is the bake for?
Half an hour. Yarım saat falan pişecek değil mi?
Ya 180.
180. In 180 degrees, half an hour. And it is placed in the middle.
190.
180, she said.
Okay, so I should turn down.
And I put it in 5 pass.
Now I understand. We do it because we want to spread it to
Yeah.
to the edges. So if you fold it, it helps you to have it. Now I will roll it. Yeah.
There's a spoon. Where's the spoon?
Really cool. Oh, yeah. Yeah, with this one, the edges are closed. And if you cut it with knife, it's harder to get the desired result. Yeah, now I'm gonna put them on the tray of the amateurs.
Amatörlüğü.
You oil them.
Should we do ours with the poppy seed so you
Yes.
know the difference?
Yes.
Bunu haşhaşa.
So we will put the poppy seed that Carmen brought.
Shout out to Carmen,
Shout out to Carmen.
our #1 fan.
After Ayla and Marcel, I would say. Oops, mine are a bit tiny. Yeah. Now I'm gonna put the egg yolks on them.
Dur oraya kenar dolduralım.
Tamam. After we finish.
So we were talking about this tool before we started the feed. This is like in every Turkish house we have this, and it's like the weapon of woman in the house. You can threaten children with it.
After the slipper.
After the slipper.
yeah.
The slipper comes first because it reaches far.
And it's always on you.
Yeah, and it's always on you. And then,
We also have the slipper in Russia.
yeah,
Of course.
the slipper, yeah.
Slipper is
And then
one.
comes the frying pan.
Oh, you have the frying pan.
We
We
have
have
the
this, yeah. It's like a educative tool. No, try not to beat your children. It hurts.
Yeah.
But you can just intimidate maybe.
Yuva yoruldun mu?
In Russia, it depends. You have a frying pan where the man annoys you, traditionally. If it's children, it's just like wooden spoon.
Oh, that's also similar to this.
A bit more friendly.
Yeah.
And after we are finished with this tray, we will start talking with Jake about the opium wars.
Yeah,
Are you ready?
definitely ready. Yeah, I guess we're going to start talking about how do we eventually get to how this opium harvest ended up in Turkey, I guess.
Yeah.
Yani şimdi buna koyalım, hazırlayayım.
İsterseniz
uzun uzun.
Şunun üzerinde şu.
Ha oldu, tamam. Merve biraz yağ koyabilir misin?
Şöyle bastık.
Yeah. Okay, I guess this will be enough for this tray. Again, I'm making it wet, and at the same time Merve is putting the egg yolks.
Burada.
And now haş haş. Elinle mi koydun?
Ağzına,
Altına şöyle.
şöyle.
Now and with this type they call it blue because the color is a bit grayish bluish. But there are also types that are yellow,
Çok değil.
black.
Sen de. Ha, tamam.
Should I also put this one in? Or
Yeah. Bunu da içine koyalım.
Orasına mı sürdün onu?
Ortaya sürdüm.
Bunun altına sür ama devamlı bakalım. Tamam.
Orada yer yok galiba. İstersen oynat. Hani bir üstü al istersen. Yukarıdaki.
Bak.
Evet.
Gördün mü? Küçük taşı.
Evet. Ekleyeyim mi biraz?
Çekiyor. Biraz taşlaştı. Hepsini yapacağız.
I'm adding a little bit more paste and molasses.
Ne bayılıyor?
Birazcık daha bunu ekleyeyim mi?
Should I take another try while you're talking, Jake?
Yeah, that would be good. I'm gonna go and wash my hands.
And I'm gonna try again. You want to? While it's opening?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Should I give you a
Yeah, give me a small.
small one?
Now Jake will try as well.
Sleeves.
Şimdi biraz sonra keseceğiz. Şimdi keseceğiz.
Okay, we are not gonna cut this one yet. We will wait for the domain.
Yeah. So now we use this, right? Or do I squish it out?
You need to first do like the inward swallowing.
Oh, I need to knead it like this.
She did it like this, I think. And then she did something like this. Değil mi Şennur? And then you can... Bunu verdin değil mi ben sana?
Hemen hamur ver.
Hamur vereyim. Ne?
Ver işte.
İyi mi? Birkaç tane daha oraya çıkartayım mı?
Sen de ver. Biraz daha sert olabilir mi?
Ne? Hamur mu? Sert derken?
Az daha katı olabilir.
Daha un mu yani?
Bir avuç daha atsak tam güzel.
So it's just ready.
Yes, yes, yes. You can. It's already.
Okay.
Okay,
Sıcak mısın?
bayağı güzel. It's going very well in the oven.
Into a slightly distracted conversation in America.
Yeah, we can wait.
Oh no.
I think it's funnier this way.
It's kind of nice trying to
Yeah.
So we got talking about opium, right?
Yeah, and this war is the war between China and British Empire.
Yeah.
That has happened in 19th century.
So it's the Opium War, so it's something like 1842.
Yeah.
And it just shows how historically this trade of opium has always been full of controversies.
Yeah. And it is also about the imbalances between where the money goes.
And where it's from.
Yeah, and where it's from. Because at that time, China was super powerful because they have the silk, they have the porcelain, they have the tea, and they were selling all these three things to Europe. And yeah, they have so much European coins in them.
And this was becoming a problem for the British and their ideas of making an empire. And it's funny because the empire was not actually these colonies that were supposedly British were not actually controlled by the British Army, but by a joint stock company called the East India Company,
Yeah.
which is, so the British had an East India Company as well as the Dutch with the AOC. But the British East India Company,
At that time, because they were also colonizing India,
yeah,
and this company was harvesting opium in India.
and similarly controlling it in ways, yeah, making the Indian population grow it, but really strictly controlling their means of production.
Yeah.
And then the company would take the opium and sell it to smugglers who would smuggle it into China illegally. And they did this because then they got all these profits from China,
Yeah.
and they'd use that same money to buy the silks and the teas and the porcelain from China. So it was racketeering. They used the same money, the money they sold to China, and they also bought from China with that money.
Yeah.
Which then started to make the East India Company very, very powerful.
Yeah. And this company was smuggling to China.
By smuggling to China.
Now we will try another track. And so at that time in China, there were so many opium addicts. And I made a little research about it and found these kind of paintings that are showing how people are using it. And the reason why the war started is that because there were so many Chinese opium addicts in China, the whole nation wasn't quite functioning anymore. And then the commander this was, for example, in India, how they are storing opium, how they're stacking it in the factories and selling to China in the form of these spherical balls. And this is a photo from the war that I found. And yeah, like photographs showing the people using opium.
What happened was the Chinese emperor banned the sale of opium.
Yeah, this is the commander. He also wrote letters to Queen of Britain. How, like, first he wanted to stop it with a functioning letter, like with the diplomacy, and then it wasn't his letter didn't even reach to her. And then he wanted to stop and ban the ships coming into the harbor of China full of opium. And then from that, the British Empire Company got mad, and then they started the war in China.
Wow.
Is
So
it the case?
the company's ships got destroyed by the Chinese army, but this was obviously a problem because the company was a joint stock company, so there was all these very rich funders in Britain who were losing lots of money suddenly. And a little bit like today where nation states protect their source of wealth and income through force, they decided that they would send the British army in to force the Chinese to carry on trading opium. And so then the British Navy is sent, and there's these huge battles, and China eventually surrendered.
China surrendered, British won, and then
The trade
Hong Kong.
continued. Oh, and they ceded Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So Hong Kong became a British state.
Yeah. And then after 5 years, the second opium war has started, which will also last for 4 years. And at that time, France and Russia was also a part of this war too, because they also wanted to get benefit from this. And also at that time, for Britain, the opium that they are producing in India wasn't enough, and they were even buying opium from Turkey to sell to China. Yeah.
And so did that, there was opium being produced already in Turkey, but did that increase the amount of opium that was produced to turn it into more of a bigger industry? Okay, I think this is maybe as good as I'm going to get it.
Yeah, that looks good. Now you can put the paste. And Merve and Şennur are checking pastry is ready. Yes, let's put it.
Like so.
Yeah, maybe that part we can put that in back in the thing because
This
it's not
part?
mixed well. Yeah, it will not be that nice in the mouth to chew. I'm gonna mix it. Oh, it's oil. Merve, how is it? Nasıl?
I changed halfway. I changed to two trays because it was getting quite nicely fried on top of them, and I didn't have the courage to keep it longer. I was afraid that it would burn. But yeah, it's going good.
Should be like 5 minutes or something. We put it in like 25 minutes ago, so it should be
We put it
soon.
in like 22 minutes ago.
Oh, okay. So 10
In
minutes.
5 minutes later.
I've got a bit extra.
So it'll be extra juicy.
Yeah, maybe we could just take this bit off.
Yeah.
You can also
Burayı keselim mi? Okay.
Nothing gets wasted.
It's wasted. Nice. And that gets that bit on the edges.
yes.
What mark would she give Jake?
Kaç puan verdin Jake'e diye soruyor Vlada.
Six and a
10
half.
üzerinden mi?
Out of 10. Out of 10. Okay, cool.
Az mı oldu?
I wanted above.
İyidir.
Beyzen daha yüksek istemiş. Foot basic. Let's do the rolling. Yeah, we need a tray for Jake. We don't have anything.
We are not gonna cut it anyways yet because
Maybe I prepared baking paper. Not now, but later.
Oh,
Kaç tane hamur var orada?
2.
Daha kapatıyor.
Yeah.
So did you talk about the whole?
Yeah, we covered the whole 2 centuries.
Çıksın şey gibi.
Maybe just say about how you use it in the house. Like, what is the occasions you eat it? I mean, I don't know.
Honestly, in my house, we don't have it so much. My mom makes a really delicious orange and poppy seed cake, which I tried to make a couple of times. It's really nice. Other than that, really not so much. It's more also ornamental for the outside of the pastries as well.
Yeah, when you do that cake that you're talking about, it's like this white cake, and when you cut it, you see this like poppy seeds in black form, and then in your mouth, they're like, you can feel them quite nicely,
Crunchy,
like
yeah.
this crunchy, yeah, sugary bits, and so that's also very nice. But for us, it's more like sesame. Like you can you can use the oil of it. You can use the paste. It's quiet and everything, but yeah, it's not a main dish as itself. Yeah. And I want to talk with Jake about cotton dress.
Oh yeah,
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam's part of it. Yeah. I'm gonna check the oven.
Yeah, let's check the oven. Yes, let's talk about cotton dress.
Oh, we'll talk about cat and birds. I was talking to our friend Claudia the other day, and she let me know that that historically lots of opium was shipped into cotton threads.
But from illegal sources.
From illegal sources, so there was a large Chinese migrant population, and they would live in Katendra with lots of the port workers, and they would also be port workers themselves. And when the Nazis invaded Rotterdam and occupied Rotterdam, they were under strict orders never ever to go to Katendra because I guess they couldn't be trusted with all this opium in Katendra. So that made Katendra almost like a police-free state, governmentally free area where lots of illegal trade could happen, but also it created a safe haven for Jewish communities who were trying to evade the Nazis, and actually lots of Jewish families lived in Katendra at that time.
Yeah.
Because as almost a byproduct of the opium trade, because the Nazi government and the Nazis didn't allow their soldiers to go anywhere near the area.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a fascinating convoluted.
Yeah, I also know that in the 70s, Katendrecht was the place that they would locate their first wave of immigrants, the Turkish immigrants, and they started living there directly. They did it the same policy in Germany too. They were like preparing like ghetto areas to put the immigrants in first, or like places that are close to the factories. And I was reading an interview with a smuggler of opium, and he's saying that they would smuggle the opium in televisions, in washing machines, these kind of things, so that so that it wouldn't be checked that much, and they would like have two companies, like one company that is legal and like doing trades between Netherlands and other countries, and then this other illegal one to put into. And yeah, I also read in the same interview that there was this guy who was working in the smuggling business, and his job was to count how many boxes they have in the storage room. And even with being in the same room with this boxes, he was kind of addicted to it, and when he was in the jail, he sweated a lot, and he showed all the symptoms of an heroin user when they're trying to quit it. So it's like really heavy, and the recovery percentage is 5 to 10. So it's the hardest drug to be sober again, I guess. Yeah. And how is the pastry going?
The pastry is still cooking.
Okay.
So normally it takes about 30 minutes, apparently, but it changes from one oven to another. So you kind of have to follow it closely. And try not to open the door of the oven so much, so it doesn't lose the heat. But yeah, it's going fine. We are now at 30 minutes. I think we might need like another 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and check it. But Vlada, can you come with that cable?
I can.
I can help you.
I only have about 9 minutes of battery left on this camera.
I think you will close anyways.
Yes.
So let's hope that this cooks in time.
But we can also close it with
Huh? I'm trying. I'm coming. So let's see. No. Oh, look at that. Oh, they look good on the bottom.
Yeah, come closer if you can.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, they look good. Can we pull this bottom one out? Oh my god. Nice. Should we take the bottom one out? It looks cool.
Şey olmuş, kızarmış.
Alttaki çok iyi. Yeah, the bottom one is really good.
Biraz daha kısaltması lazım.
Yeah, the top one needs a little bit more.
Now we're just here with the camera. Now you need to do like a, I don't know, Turkish bun dance.
It smells amazing.
I'm so excited. Do we need to wait? Biraz piştikten sonra beklemesi gerekiyor mu böyle hani bir şey yapması için?
Mesela 5-10 dakika beklersen
Beklersin
daha
daha iyi.
iyi.
Yeah.
It should, after it's cooked, it's better that it waits like 5 to 10 minutes to settle down.
get the glove.
Pişmemiş.
Bak evet o yüzden.
İki ben altı.
Okay, so we are back again. It's baked very nicely. You can see the texture on the top and then the bottom, it should look like this. And now we will eat it. But first I would like to thank everyone, of course, Şennur Turgut, Merve, Jay, Vlada behind the camera, Veronica from Melly who helped us throughout this event, and also Ari for transportation and my family in the village for helping me out. Yeah, thank you so much, and to Nefa as well, and Ayla for the research and Carmen. Yeah, so thank you so much and bye-bye.
Woo! See you next time.
Ben çok küçük aldım.
Okay, who's tried it?
We will all try. Jake?
Give me one. I want one.
Çocuklarını verin önce.
Oh, it's warm.
Hangisine? We can all try at the same time, by the way. Do you want to join us?
Oh my god, it's so good.
Nefa, evet. Ayla.
This is so much better. Daniel, get involved. This is really good.
Vlada.
Oh yeah.
So yummy. Çok güzel.
Bye everyone.